Yeah, it says going live, so we are live. And then just wait for your Instagram, and then we'll.
Okay. There we go.
We'll just hit go live on that one, and then just watch the chat there.
Yeah, we are live.
We were live, buddy.
Look at us go! Unbelievable.
Both of us are live on the channel there. Awesome, man. Well, excited to be doing this with you, man. Truly am. We got big plans and big visions, like any entrepreneur. We're here going to be talking about all things multi-generational living, small-scale multi-unit housing initiatives, which Cole's a bit of an expert in. So he'll be teaching me a bunch of things. We'll learn along the way here. We got. Sorry, just a little quick side note here.
Yeah.
I got some guy who joined, freelancer guy. He was here last time. He's trying to sell me services. So.
Oh boy. Hey, he's hustling too. There's no problem in him putting in the work, putting in the effort.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
We can't fault him. I'm seeing some people join on my Instagram. Twin Alyssa, the one and only, the best support system I could possibly ask for. She's hopped in. She'll critique me after the fact. My boy Matt Brand as well. I've got some people that are hopping in. And so we'll kind of jump into it here. Very first episode of the Multi-Gen Blueprint, focusing on multi-generational living in BC, kind of the starting point. We want to talk about something that, it's passionate to me. Richard, I know it's something that you're really interested in and we're starting to see a little bit happen around BC, and we'll talk about some touch points and kind of figure out and help people figure out kind of, what are some of the rule changes that have allowed this to happen, and how can this be implemented properly? And as we move into the future, a little bit more in-depth tips and tricks on the way things are going to go and the way that things are going to start to play out in other areas. But not everything has completely changed, right? There are still things that you used to do in the past that are still going to be relevant. Not everything is completely brand new. And so we just want to help people who tune in with the confusing aspects of real estate and planning and figuring out how to accomplish multi-gen living, if that's something that they want to do, because full disclaimer, it is not for everyone, right?
Well,
you gotta like your family. That's important, right? So kind of a quick teaser of what we're going to do in the hour here. We're going to kind of introduce ourselves a little bit, a little bit of backstory on who we are, what we used to do, why we're in real estate, and other stuff that we're doing. We'll talk a little bit about why we believe multi-gen living is a big deal right now. Very brief intro into small-scale multi-unit housing, which is from the provincial government in British Columbia, what it is, when it came into effect. We'll also talk a little bit about 4 main types of multi-generational living, and then a little bit of myth busting, in case some people have any questions. So
I always like busting myths.
Hey, man, it is the dream. So what I'll do here, I've talked a lot. Right off the rip, I'm going to throw it back to you, Richard. For the viewers that are tuning in here, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, for my viewers, most of you know who I am. Live here in Mission. Across the river. I know I get some hate, but I hate back. No, I'm just kidding. And I just found a passion for multi-generational living. I truly do believe it's the future, where things are going, and just, I don't know, nobody wants to live in like a 300 square foot condo, and that's what they're building these days. They're just because, more and more people can't afford the bigger condos. So now the builders are building smaller ones. And so I have a huge passion for that. A little bit more about myself, I guess. I've been in real estate for just over 3 years. Absolutely love it. Love the challenge. Love the people that I meet. And just, it's something satisfying just about finding a property that a family can just be super excited about, and just even excited about the future, right? Like where that property can take them. And so me and Cole actually met up through a mutual friend, And I think it was like not instant, but it was like, okay, you're very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about this, i.e. multi-generational properties. Like, how do we harness that excitement and just, I don't know, educate people, right? I truly believe that us as, what's this called, realtors in the Fraser Valley, our goal is to educate people and not just, post just listed and just sold properties, but actually valuable content and that people would find interesting. And so that's really where this all started to become such a, an idea of just how can we create a space for people who want to do what we're passionate about? Because again, like you mentioned earlier, it's like, it's not for everyone. It's definitely not for everyone, the multi-generational living, but I think there's some massive benefit and just a better lifestyle, which I truly believe it can happen. It's just a matter of going through the red tape, going through the zoning, going through the bylaws, which Cole here is a bit of an expert on. And so glad to have you here, buddy. And yeah, man, it's going to be, I don't know, we'll see where it goes, but at the same time, you can just count on this being a spot where we're just going to explore what's happening out in the cities of the Fraser Valley, what's working, what's not working, where the city's at with all this stuff, because they're constantly changing too. And a lot of these cities, they didn't want this because that was forced upon them, but here we are. And so we want to be the ones that are kind of leading the pack in all things, small scale multi-unit housing, multi-family generational properties. But that's where I'm at, man. How about you? A little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I have been a licensed real estate agent now since May. So not 3 years, just over 3 months. And wanted to get into real estate. The initial kind of plunge for me happened in January of 24. I kind of made the decision that I was like, yeah, let's, as you like to say all the time, let's start the car. And so I
got that text this morning there.
Yeah.
He sent me a text this morning. I was like, I just want to read it to you. It was like key, arrow, and then car. And I was like, wait, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, it means start the car.
So,
like, let's go.
Yeah, we're just trying to have some fun with it. But I wanted to get into real estate because of understanding that this is, it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to bet on myself as well. I was in sales for junior hockey teams for about 4 years before making the plunge. And I loved working in hockey. I've got a lot of great memories working in hockey. I'm also a big hockey fan. I'm a big Canucks fan as well, even though they're bad a lot of the time, which has been tough. Disclaimer, I hope they're better this year. I'm really hoping, but that's a story for another time. But I wanted to get into real estate for that. And then I also got the opportunity to work with a modular home company. And what I learned in that is, one, that I needed to up my game a little bit, but I also, on the back end side, one of the things that I did for them is I did a lot of property consultations and I did a lot of zoning research into some of the development projects that they were looking to do. And that year of experience into looking into it perfectly coincides with the small scale multi-unit housing legislation that came out that we're going to touch on in a little bit. And so I have kind of been on it right from the jump, making sure that I understand it. I understand what questions I need to ask, figuring out what cities are good, what cities, I won't say that aren't good, but are still navigating it themselves. And it's giving me, I'm very, very fortunate. I thank everybody in my life who's kind of given me an opportunity to learn and to educate myself on something that not a lot of people know right now. And so I'm going to name drop him, the guy that introduced us, your team lead, Clark Berry of the Valley Life Real Estate Group.
Hope he's not
is like an unofficial mentor to me. And then I got the chance to meet you. And when you said that multi-gen living was something that you were really interested about, I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect because this is exactly what I want to do anyway. And it was nice to find another real estate agent that cared about it, and that also wanted to make it a bit of a focus. And the reason why it's such a passion for me isn't just because of the fact that, I like doing it and I know the legislation and I did some consultations, but because for people who follow my social media content, you've probably already heard this story, but I live it. This is something that my family currently lives. We are on the same property as my wife's family. So her parents are here and her siblings, and we are in the main house with our little one, and we're kind of the hub. And the support that we've gotten, especially my wife with our little one, unbelievable. It's unbelievable for us. And so I want to help people do this if they want to. Again, and that's why it's not something that will work for everyone. And I do understand that. I've had some comments being like, why do you talk about this? It's not for everybody. My family treated me poorly, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to discredit those people, because there are families that might take advantage. And that's really sad. I'm not saying that they are wrong. I'm just saying that for me and for other people that I know who want to do this, it is amazing. And so it does go on on both ends of the spectrum. But I'm passionate about it. I want to talk about it. I want to help people do this if they want to. I want to be able to help find them stuff that they want when they need it. And I want to share it with, people who share that vision. And I'm so happy, Richard, that you share the vision. And I'm really excited to kind of go into it here and see what happens.
No, appreciate you sharing your story. And I'm sure as we continue along this journey, people get to know us more. But I think the next thing we wanted to talk about is just like why multi-generational living is just such a big deal right now. And I don't know, I constantly talk about it in like networking groups that I'm a part of, and just everybody is just like, man, it makes sense. And I think the crazy part is that there's, if you have family who most family have people who own homes, right? You have an older generation that owns homes, and you have a younger generation that in most cases our age or even younger, they just don't own anything. And so it's like, how can they be the catalyst in helping each other? And so again, these conversations I'm having, it's just like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. The crazy thing is, and you can probably agree, is just most people don't even know this stuff exists right now.
Well, it's so new. It's so new. With all the changes are so new. I cannot stress that enough, that, in the conversations that I've had as well, people don't know. They don't know that you can do it, but they all say that it's an amazing idea. Like you said, I talk to friends that say the same type of thing. Like they want to do this for their kids. And part of it is housing costs. Let's not kid ourselves. I know that the market is still down. It's been down for a while. I saw a video from another real agent who was talking about the fact that this is the longest bear market that we've been in. And I'm going to give him a shout out. I just want to make sure that I get his first name right in just a little bit. So hold me to that. I'm going to make sure that, because I really like his content, but he was talking about the fact that, real estate prices have basically been coming down since 2022. And they're still ridiculously high. There are people who are going to be like, oh, it's fine. But for young people and other people I've talked to, they feel hopeless. And that's a sad thing to see. It's not the people who are driven and are going to succeed no matter what. It doesn't affect them necessarily, because they're going to find a way. But for the average, person in their mid-20s going to university who want to have the hope of owning a home, it's so hard to get there, because even condos are still a little too high in the greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley regions. And so, how are you going to be able to afford something without having both partners working and making pretty good money, and then also managing, they might have student loans that they're managing. God forbid, they had a car loan like me, because that was a bad decision. as I look
The
back.
good old car loan, you know.
Yeah, the good old car loan. I mean,
Yeah,
I was,
everybody.
you know, heaven forbid they've got that. And so you've got people who are battling and who are really trying to get out there, and they just look at how far away and how much they need to save. And it's hard to save when rent is so high too, even though rent is also coming down. There are prices that are coming down. Like, it's not completely hopeless, but there's not a lot there, right? And so you talk to these people and you're like, well, what if you did some multi-gen living? Because parents do want to help their kids. I hear that too, right? And so this is a different way that you can do it. You know, whether it's a garden suite, whether it's a multi-gen property, whether it's just a basement suite, like there are ways that you can help your kids to either save, so they can at the very least save on costs and build up a ton of money while they're at home, or they can help with a down payment if they want to, right? It's just opening up opportunities is the thing that I would say with it. Because if you can figure out a way to open up your opportunities, you're going to put yourself in a better spot. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. And Richard, I don't know, like, kind of what your thoughts are kind of on this from other people that you've talked to, because like the housing costs, when I took a look, I did my Fraser Valley and Greater Vancouver stats videos, and I mean, Greater Vancouver, it's still 1.975 for a detached home right now. That's the benchmark price. That's a little extreme for me. I know it has Vancouver there, but it's a big number.
It's just such a hard one, right? Because I think majority of families, younger families, they just can't see it working out where it's like, oh, I'm going to buy a condo and like, I got to have 4 kids in 1 bedroom, right? Because that's kind of the reality. But it's interesting because when we talk to these people, and like kind of you said too, is that most people just don't know this exists. They like don't know how to do it. They've like, and it's so new. There's not that many like real life stories, right? And so it's like they're very skeptical of how it's going to all work out. And so that's my kind of biggest thing is like, you know, even as we grow this, it's like bring on families that like have done this or are doing this, interview them, tell them their story. And like, that's the hope that I truly want to do is just like start talking to families that are like, maybe not necessarily always like doing the 4-plex. We got like, you know, 4 homes on like a 12,000 square foot lot or 8,000 square foot lot. But like families that are like buying houses together, one's in the suite, one's upstairs, and just learning from them, learning their struggles, learning how they overcame the problems that happen. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we can sit here and say this is the greatest thing ever, but if we don't have real stories or real people who have been through this, and like obviously you are a real example, you are living this, and so it's amazing. And I didn't touch on it from my situation, but I don't have a family, but I have basically a bunch of roommates living in my house. And so it's kind of the same appeal. It's like, well, you can't afford to buy a place, and rent's super expensive. Obviously, it's coming down, like you said, and I agree. But it's like, how can you find ways to limit your housing costs so that you can save up enough money so that you can, you know, eventually buy something, or, you know, get maybe an investor called your parents, or pull some friends and family together if you don't have parents. So again, not everybody has I don't know, a family, let's say, that they're willing to go in on. And so there's just multiple ways to do this. And I kind of, what was I also going to say? Yeah. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see where this goes. But I think we should move on to just talking about these new, basically, small scale multi-unit housing. Like, what is that?
Absolutely. So
like, what does that even mean, Cole?
So we're gonna throw up a share here. And we're gonna just get everything here on the page. You can kind of see that I was looking at some stuff as well on the BC website. I always kind of go on the BC website to make sure that we're up to date about kind of what's going on. And and what I think is a good way. So you go kind of into the local government housing initiatives on the BC website, and the intro is the small scale multi-unit housing. And so came into effect
not too long ago there.
Yeah, so updated here this year, but it was realistically, it was put into effect last June, late June, early July is when this kind of came into effect. And I remember talking to cities in May, right before it happened, and they were like, we have to, we're getting ready to launch everything. A ton of cities were getting ready to launch changes to their zoning bylaws, which would allow them to incorporate this one way or the other. And so a really, really quick introduction to it is that the small scale multi-unit housing allows families to create attainable housing on their properties, which can include secondary suites in single family dwellings. So think basement suite, or coach houses over a garage, if you so choose. Detached dwelling units like garden suites, laneway houses, or coach houses. Multi-gen housing like duplexes, triplexes, and houseplexes. So a houseplex is a fourplex, another word for that. You see it in different zoning bylaws. Also, but townhomes, apartments, if they want to, they have that option. I don't know if my little one wants to be in a condo from that screen, but he might just be a little bit of a spoiled little dude right now, so that's fair. And but also, like, some areas will allow 4 detached homes on a property as well, and you can get up to 1,500 square feet, which is still good. I know that people, they're going to hear me say that and they're going to be like, that's, you're just saying that because you know builders and why do I want to live in that? But you could do 2-story or 3-story homes with those new legislations, right? And so then you can spread out and have one whole area downstairs for living area, depending on what your floor plan is. And I said in one of my videos that layout is everything, and layout of the floor plan is everything. Find someone who's going to put the attention to detail in, and you can have, a nice sized kitchen and a nice sized living room and a bathroom downstairs. And you can have that space to live. And then it forces you to all not live together per se, but you have an area where, a family of 4, like parents of 2 kids, or, maybe a parent with 3 kids, if 2 of the kids are kind of around that same age, like you could do something there as a starter that allows you to grow into a point where you've got this opportunity. Maybe your housing costs are lower, and then maybe you sell it down the line, and then you move on.
Stepping stone, right?
Right. So there's so much that has become available because of this, because of the small scale multi-unit housing. And it's why I talk about it a lot on my social media. And so these are housing options, a lot of them ground oriented. And you can find a builder that will allow, but essentially what happened here is that 3 to 4 units in single family zones or duplex zones are super easy to get to. Secondary suites really easy to get to, and you can also go up to 6 units in bus stops. And I think the province really wants to increase density by transit.
They've been talking about that for a bit.
Yeah, and so, but you can build 6 units on a property. Now, how you build those 6 units, might be very different. Like, are you doing 2 duplexes with garden suites in the back? Are you doing a 6-unit townhome or apartment complex? Like, these are things that I'm not saying that it's a be-all end-all that every property that can get 6 units, it's going to be feasible to do 6 units, right? Because people don't want to live in shoeboxes. I totally understand that. Some people, they want to downsize, but some people don't. And I don't want to sit here and be like, oh yeah, just build 6 units because you can. No, it has to, the property still has to fit, but it could do it, right? Like, that's the key. You don't have to, but the province has given you the option to do it. And some people don't trust the government to build the homes that they need. So you can do it yourself. And you don't need to rezone your property. You don't need to go through a subdivision potentially. You might still, on certain properties, you might still need to rezone on certain properties. I'm not saying you don't, but a lot of properties now, you don't have to. You're allowed to get your development permits, get your building permits, and start the car. Throw the key in the ignition, floor to the gas pedal, let's go. And it is a possibility for a lot of people.
Shake and bake.
If they want to do it, and there are costs that are going to go into it. You've got your building costs, you've got your construction costs, your project costs, holding costs. I understand that there's a lot of costs that are going to go into it. It's not the most affordable thing. Like building homes is not cheap, but it could be cheaper than potentially buying a condo right now, and then having.
I want to chime in here for a sec.
Yeah.
Give a real world example. So I'm gonna unshare yours. I'm gonna share mine. I watched this video, and I'd probably share it with you too. But I love it so much, and I actually it's at 2.5 million views. And so the interest is there. This YouTube video basically showcases it. And so it's in Vancouver, and I just pause this screen so that this is a video. And as you can see here, and this is the beautiful part, like you were saying, a 3-story in the back here. So it's basically a 3-bedroom townhome. You have 2 3-bedroom townhomes, and then you have 2 2-bedroom, basically ground floor. I watched this whole video twice. I just loved it so much.
Yeah.
But it's got a loft upstairs and then bathroom. So the fronts are 2 bath, 2 bed. I think the bath is 2 bed, 3 bath. And the amazing part is you can, as you age, it's I don't know, do you really need more than to your point, 1,400 square feet? Do you really? Look at the house beside us here. This thing's insane. Do you need that much space? I don't know.
Some people do, but that's just it, right? Some people do, but some people, they really don't. Ask someone, where do you live in your home? What rooms? You'll be surprised how much square footage you realistically use on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked some people that, and I've asked, the question, where do you live in your home? Right? I live in the kitchen, the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. A lot more than I'd like to admit. Those 4 places are my sanctuary. I asked my wife, we would probably add the little one's bedroom now, because we're moving him into his own bedroom, and that's a whole battle in and of itself right now.
Yeah.
We're fighting demons a little bit, trying to get him into his own room as new parents. But we don't live in every room of the house all of the time, right? Now, again, I'm coming from a place of very, very fortunate. We're in a position where multi-gen living, we're in a spot that other people aren't. And so we're very blessed, and we really appreciate it. But we were good in our condo, and we were going to be good in our condo when we lived there. And that's something that even with the little one, we were going to be fine. We were going to take him outside a lot. We would have been okay, because we don't use that much space. We just don't. No. And so this is perfect, because, with some cities that I've talked to, they're not going to stop you from building this. Some of them have said that they legitimately can't. In conversations I've had with planning consultants with the cities, they've been like, no, we cannot stop you from doing this. And that's a perfect example, because you would be surprised at how feasible that is. One thing I see there is I love the way that they did the driveway to the back with the little lawn strip in the middle to get a car to the other house. Granted, now you're stuck with one car by that parking spot, but that's still I think that's super, super cool. It's a great way to keep some greenery on that property, and utilize it. But my question for that family would be how often would they have used the yard beforehand? Right? Because that's what some people might come and be like, well, you don't have a backyard there. Well, would they even use the yard if they had it? Right? And they might have it in the backyard there. I can't see. I know that you've watched the video twice.
Yeah. And this is the back. Oh, got ads.
That's a great suitcase ad. Perfect.
We're sponsored by no. So I won't play the audio, but this is the backyard. If I just back up. They got a little gate access, That's like more than most. That's like more than, well, I know that's more than all townhomes. Like townhomes have nothing.
Right. And so, you know, one of the big things there that you can see is like the ability to get a whole host of different things.
Yeah.
And take advantage of a whole host of different aspects of multi-gen living. Like these, it looks like there's grandparents who get to be by their grandkids and help the parents of those kids, which awesome. That for my little one, being able to see his grandparents essentially every day. Like he now, like when his grandparents come in, he freaks out. He is living his best life. And then when they leave, you hear the scream in the background there. A little bit longer, a little bit louder. But he loves it. He gets to see his aunts and uncles all the time. He gets to see, he's getting to be social too, which is great. I want him to be a little bit more social than I am. That's kind of my hope, is that he's a bit of a butterfly in that department. But, you know, this is a great video. This is an awesome video, and it showcases what people can do. And you can do that on a ton of properties, like a ton in around the Lower Mainland. Like if I told people the number of properties that they could do this on, or if they sent me stuff, like they would be shocked, because this is what the province is really trying to do. And they're doing that by making the cities amend their zoning bylaws to allow for more density, to allow for more lot coverage, to allow for, like, using some terms here, right, that we'll go into in the future, in future episodes, utilizing, you know, different types of principal residences, utilizing everything at their disposal. Properties with lane access, those are awesome. Some of the property reviews that I've done and are doing, think they're going to have lane access. Those are pristine. But you've got all these options now, right? And so, Richard, that's a great video. I know that I've seen it in other places. There was like one in Burnaby. I saw it too. I don't have to find the video. You're beating me there, but I mean, you're the smart one of the two, so I don't.
Oh, buddy,
that's kind of the overview. And it's for most it's 4, right? And then you got to also think there's going to be parking stuff, amenity space. So like that property is good because they probably got the backyard, and they were probably able to get the backyard to be big enough where all 4 people could use it, one way or the other. Those are other stuff that anybody who wants to do this is going to have to talk to licensed professionals too. You're going to talk to surveyors, you're going to talk to engineers, you're going to talk to city planners, you're going to talk to your builders. You're going to go to them, and you're going to make sure that everything is cleared one way or the other. And then you can talk to, I think it's important that real estate agents start to maybe get an understanding on this.
Educate themselves.
But I know that a lot of agents don't. Like I've talked to other agents. Like I've asked the question to other agents, like, is this something that you've ever done? Some of them have straight up told me, like, I don't have time to look into this. And I was like, okay, that's fine. If that's how you think, I'm not going to change thousands of agents' minds on looking into this. But I think it's important to me because I do think it's where we're going. Whether people like it or not, I do think that families are going to start picking up on this because it's where we're going, and they don't have to put their kids into 500 square foot shoeboxes if they don't want to.
Well, and I think the beauty part is, like, you have that community, right? And I think it's funny, you hear the saying, like, we're more connected than ever now, but we're more disconnected.
Yeah.
And like as AI, and that's another whole conversation, comes about, people are gonna crave more of this face-to-face interactions. They're gonna crave, talking to their neighbors. They're gonna crave all of these things that, like, in my opinion, makes life amazing, right? And so I think you can have it where a property such as the one we've seen there, facilitates and allows that to happen. That's amazing. And like, there's going to be some drawbacks for sure. Like, but it's like, I don't know, you buy a 500 square foot condo, right? Or, and the beauty part is, like, what obviously we'll talk more about later, is like stratifying. You could buy a piece, you could buy one of those front properties, right? And now it's different. It's like, okay, would I rather buy one of those? You know, in theory, it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Like, let's be honest and realistic here. But like, it's probably not going to be that much more expensive than like some of these condos. And like, if you get the company that you're you know quite well to build it, it's like, who knows? It could be apples to apples. And so it's like, now you're gonna like, oh, let's live in a condo where like everybody hates strata and the rules and bylaws are telling you what you can and cannot do with your property. Like, that's insane. Or you could have a compound essentially, or like, you know, where you have really good relationships with people, whether it's your family or like whether it's just a whole bunch of people that come together and do it themselves. Like, it doesn't have to be just families doing this.
Well, I mean, there are people who say that there's the family you're born with and the family you choose, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you do it with the family you choose. Maybe you're doing it with your boys and they've all got wives and you're all thinking to yourself, you're like, let's all just do something together. Then you can live with your boys. Now, I mean, does that pose some challenges? Yeah. Are the wives going to like it? Do the wives like each other? Do the kids want to see your friends all the time? Do your wives want you to see your friends all the time? Maybe some of them are a bad influence. Like, we don't know. We don't know what the boys are getting up to on Saturday nights. But kind of what the thought process here is that you're right. You don't have to do it with just your family. You can do it with your friends. And there are different ways that you can kind of go about it. And again, this is an introductory episode. I've had a bunch of people kind of jump in and out on Instagram. So huge thank you to people who have even wanted to listen to us yap. You know, we're yapping here on the Multi-Gen Blueprint a little bit. There is a little bit of structure, and this is all live. We did not talk about the exact points. There's no script here. This is off the dome. And so,
I like,
you know,
that.
as we continue to kind of move along, I don't know if we're going to get to the full hour here, which is totally fine. But there are kind of the next thing I think that I wanted to dive into. And Richard, you probably know a little bit more about this right now because there are different types of multi-generational living, and they've already been in place, right? The house with secondary suites. So I see a lot of those with newer builds where they'll have like a basement suite in them. Whether it's legal or not is something that I've noticed as well. But there are a lot of basement suites out there, which is kind of the basics of multi-generational.
Just the reality,
right? Like, that's kind of the first part.
Everybody's pumping in suites. It's like every time I talk to someone about buying a place, it's just like, you know, I want a suite, and it's like, and this is another whole thing. Like, I've actually made an Instagram reel about this. I'm like, if you're gonna put a suite in your house, you at least do a good job. Like, there's some suites in there that are so butchered, it's ridiculous. I'm like, you are detracting from the value of this house by having this butchered suite in your house.
I've seen that too.
A mini side rant, but it's just, but like, it's just the reality. Like, we need to increase densification. So before this small scale multi-unit housing initiative, all we really had was like, well, let's tear down a bunch of homes, do a land assembly, and put some condos up, or let's put everyone puts basement suites in. Because of the densification, but also because just things are getting more expensive and people need that extra income to supplement their own income so that they can actually afford the house that they live in. And so that is the big one, right? Like, most people, that's like a given. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's just a basement suite. I'll have my parents live downstairs. Like, I have a few clients right now that that's what we're looking for. We're looking for properties with a ground level basement suite, no stairs, for the elderly family, so that they can basically live the rest of their days there. Because for one, what's the old age homes? They're expensive.
Yes.
And
yes,
two, it's like, I don't know, like, the whole idea of just having support downstairs, because like, I don't know, there's like, it becomes a thing too where I think you got to give older people a purpose as well, because otherwise they just sit in their house all day. And like, I don't know, I'm not an old person right now, but like, me talking now and how I want to be down the road, it's like, I would love it if my kids were like, down here and I could help them and teach them the ways and share some wisdom that I have along the way. Like, because these old people, they have so much wisdom and I don't know, thoughts and opinions, and being able to help and give them a purpose. And I think with that purpose, they will live longer. No, there's no stats, or well, maybe there is stats, but I'm just thinking what I think is true.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I believe life gets a lot better when you have, again, maybe it's not your immediate family, but like when you do life together with a community of people, whether that's 2 families, 4 families, 10 families, whether you're part of a local community, whatever. I think life just gets way more valuable and, I don't know, better, for lack of a better word, just when you do it together. And so with this, with the suites downstairs, I think there's the coach houses, right? Those are a big one. Like the property I have here that I'm filming at has a coach house in the back, and it's huge. I'm like, yeah, down the road, if I need to have my parents in the coach house, like it's an option.
Yeah.
Right. I'd love to be the ability to take care of my parents, if I need to down the road. Right.
Yeah. I've had pretty bad experiences with old folks' homes with my grandparents. My grandfather in specific, really bad experience with one. And we'll keep the details to ourselves. But absolutely, like if I can keep my parents out of it too, like, because right now we know that we're going to help my wife's family, like with her parents, we'll support them. I want to support my parents too, one way or the other. Absolutely not. I don't want to touch those with a 10-foot pole. And it's not because the workers are all bad, right? Like there's just not enough support in the system for them, in my humble opinion at times. And so I want to help my parents avoid that one way or the other. And that's something that I'm working towards, finding a way that we can avoid that. And
I just quickly Googled something.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see that. Pop the share screen. Show everybody. Show them the stats.
Let me just move this over. I move my screens around and stuff. Move this back. Hit the share. Why isn't this working? There it is. I was like, what's the average cost of an old age home? And it's so like, let's play this out. And I know we're going on a side tangent, but we're going to complete the thought here.
Stay with us. It will get back on the rails. We're getting there.
Your old parents, they sell their property. They get whatever they get for it. Yeah. And I don't know, most people don't have massive amount of funds at the end of their life. And so they sell their property and now they're paying $1,600 to $6,200, maybe even higher. Like I know my grandma, she's in a dementia ward, and I think it's like almost like $7 or $8 a month. Now there's a lot more care in that, but unlike if she lives for another 10 years, like what does that look like, right? Like, and so, and then let alone just like the quality of life. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some great old age homes, but I don't know. It's like there's something to be said about just like doing life all the way to the end with the people that you raised, and I don't know, it's just I just think more people should be considering this, but again, not everybody has the means to, and so we're here to hopefully, I don't know, help people, give another option, showcase what's possible, and really just I don't know, be a lead resource to all things multi-generational. So if you have questions, it's like, hey, let's pop on here, because again, if anybody has questions, it's like, put them in the chat. I'm more than happy to derail the so-called structure we have here to answer questions.
Richard loves chaos.
They bring the chaos.
Thrives on it. I have one from BMCC 14. Very interesting. It is interesting. That's why I like talking about it, because there's a whole lot there. But yeah, if anybody's got comments, throw them in any of our chats. Let Richard completely derail the structure that I may or may not have helped create. because he loves it. He loves the chaos. And I also, too, love going off the rails a little bit here. So we got a little bit of time. So other types of multi-gen living to kind of wrap it up, because we talked a lot about secondary suites in the basement suite. You touched briefly on coach houses, but the other one, there's fourplex in townhome style. We talked about that. There's the full duplex, so you could do 2 units that are identical size on the same property, and then some garden suites. But I actually wanted to really touch on garden suites and laneway homes, because those are easier than ever to add in the backyard as you go to something in Abbotsford. But garden suites and laneway homes, the reason I love those is because you can build some stuff in the backyard. It's 1 story. You know, in certain cities, you're allowed to go up to 968 square feet. That think about a 968 square foot condo, right? You can do stuff that is like a condo that is 1 story in a backyard that's not attached to a house for kids or for parents, that will be nicer than a condo. And they will still have some privacy, and they won't have to deal with strata and all that sort of stuff. And so, as you're showing some types of garden suites out there, like, there are ways to make living spaces that feel open, that don't feel generic, that allow the opportunity to do different things. Like, I'll talk about the one modular home company I partnered with Fusion Festival, right? Lane One Homes. And I love what Lane One Homes is doing with their some of their builds and some of the stuff that they're doing. You know, a little bit higher quality, so it's a little bit more of a, I'm not going to say luxury, but it is definitely a higher quality type of home. But this sort of stuff, like, you can find something that'll work with your backyard, with your family, and with your zoning. And you can put, in a lot of places, you can put 2 of these in your backyard with just 1 house, right? So you can do multi-gen living on a smaller scale, you know, no pun intended. Those options are there. And there are lots of different builders, and there are lots of different, you know, ways that you can maximize properties, and for whatever works for the family or for the group of individuals that want to do it. You have options. And that's, if there's one point I want to push, that one thing that was told to me is, like, if I go to a class, if I find one thing out of that class that sticks with me, that class was worth it. And so anybody tuning into episode 1 today, if there's one thing that I want people to take away from episode 1 of Multi-Gen Blueprint with Richard and Cole, it's that there are opportunities dependent on the family that are out there, and it is much easier to take advantage than you think. That's the point I will drive home here before the end of the show, is if you have an idea and you want to do it, it is easier than ever to do it in British Columbia. Talk to someone. Talk to a professional. You can ask us. I'm more than happy to do a free property consultation if somebody asks from the first episode. That's kind of going to be a nice free offer there. Richard and I can work together to find something that'll work, you know, because we are realtors. We can do that. We've got the expertise.
We're actively looking for properties like this,
like
opportunities for.
They are there. They are there. Anybody tuning in, they are there. That's the big thing. Richard, we're on time. Look at us. For someone who loves chaos, you know, we're hitting all the points here.
Well, it's a storm from the outside in, but it's a well-oiled machine on the inside. Don't kid yourself.
Sure.
Don't kid yourself.
We're gonna go to a little bit of myth busting here, just a little mini segment, and then we're gonna kind of wrap it up. And so there are 3 myths that I wanted to talk about. If you've got another one, Richard, let me know. The first one, and I have heard this a lot, is that you need acres to make multi-gen living work. And that is not the case. Actually,
that's like the biggest lie ever.
Small scale
right here.
Small scale. I know it's funny. I wanted to talk about that in a future episode, but there's an official community plan policy update and zoning update coming to Abbotsford that they're working on right now, called Abbotsford 2050. And the small scale stuff, a lot of people don't know. Like, once you get over an acre, a lot of properties don't qualify for small scale anymore. And which, okay, in fairness, I don't know why that makes a whole lot of sense. For like, I'm not talking properties in ALR, which is agricultural land reserve, for people who don't know, and we can touch on that in another episode as well, and why I do not touch anything with ALR designation on it.
Yeah,
at least I would not for what we're doing. But you got to be within an acre for a lot of the small scale stuff in a lot of municipalities, and so you do not need a bigger lot to do this sort of stuff. Now there are still things that you can do with bigger lots that aren't ALR, right? Unless you're a farmer, unless you want to go into agriculture. But I'm under the assumption that people don't, or not all people do. There are still things you can do with bigger properties. You could maybe look to subdivide, depending on if it would be allowed for that property to get them down to an acre or less, if it would work, and then they would be eligible. Is something that maybe you could look at and see. But for all the small scale stuff, they want it under an acre. You know, they do want to kind of utilize single family duplex lots to, I think they want to target the missing middle for housing. And what I mean by that is the 1,500 square foot detached home. You just don't see them. And I think that could be a great break from in between townhouses and the larger lots. Like putting something in between the townhome and the 2,200 square foot home on a giant lot could be something where you take advantage, right? In British Columbia, again, I want to make sure that I tell people that this is British Columbia specific. This is British Columbia legislation and zoning. Other provinces may very well be different, depending. Because I've looked into Alberta stuff in Edmonton for some people, and it is very different. It would take some time to understand it, but always talk to the city as we kind of enter the future. So that's the one myth. You do not need a lot of land to do this. Another myth is that cities never approve these. And while we've seen an example of that they do, I know of other examples in certain cities that they do. Now, I've heard some stuff off the record that some cities right now aren't really doling out building permits. And which cities I'm going to keep to myself right now. You know, a little bit of a value, like, hey, you want to know? Give us a call, give us a chat. But depending on your municipality, they're going to approve it. They want more density, because you know what else density does? It's going to bring rent costs even lower. And so it's not just a homeowner benefit, right? It's not just for the people who already have properties. This will benefit everybody if there's more available quality homes to rent. You increase your supply. Ideally, you lower your demand, and your pricing is going to get a little bit better. We're starting to see that with the real estate market right now, within the tons of inventory in Fraser Valley and Greater Vancouver, and prices have been coming down since 2022. Still too high, like we talked about earlier, but supply and market factors in the market, it's going to help renters as well. It's going to help everybody one way or the other, if done right. Big key, do it properly, guys. Please do it properly. Please.
That is
like, just please.
Yeah.
So
there's there's always a lot of questions that come about, and this is just the beginning. Like we've said in the beginning, that this is just all started, and so we really truly hope, as we wrap up this hour, that this is going to be a space where you're like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a multiplex thing. Oh, I better go see what Cole and Richard are talking about, or I better reach out to them, because we have a lot of the answers, but truthfully, there's gonna be some answers we don't know because the city doesn't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so as we continually talk to the planning departments of all the local cities here in the Fraser Valley, as we build relationships with them, and as we get insider info on what's happening and what they're wanting to see, depending city by city, we're hoping to share that with everybody here. And yeah, if you have questions, we'll get you answers. Maybe not right away, but that's okay. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. I mean, in the greater Vancouver region too, like there was a city that I talked to on a property that I was looking. It was like a specialty zoning. And I had a question because they had lumped a bunch of properties together into one zoning, but on their GIS map, which a lot of people, GIS map is something we'll go into in a future episode, but it's essentially the mapping tool that you can use to look into some stuff for a specific property. And the zoning on the map was different from what it was supposed to be. And so I called the city and I was like, hey guys, can you go up to 4 units, even though that there's a specific OCP for the 4 parcels? And they tried to tell me like, no, it's this. And I was like, you guys need to check your GIS map. And so she was like, okay. She checked, and on the phone, she's like, oh my goodness, you're right. It's wrong. It's supposed to be this. Thank you so much. I'm going to change it. And they changed it. So always ask questions to the city. If it's not, if 1 + 1 is not equaling 2, it should. And that's what I mean, right? Like Richard says, the cities don't know everything. The cities aren't always up to date on stuff that they should be either. They're busy. They lose stuff. The people working there are still human, right? Mm-hmm. They are not well-oiled machines at all times. They are still human. It is okay to make mistakes. Have someone in your corner that can ask the questions and make sure that they get you the right answers. Because even sometimes you get different things from people in the same planning department. And so they're going to be, especially with how things are still new. We'll talk about how like there are certain cities that are just finalizing their zoning reviews that got exemptions. There are certain cities that have been doing it now for a year. There's a lot that we can kind of go into. We'll go into it in future episodes. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in. On my end, I had about 6 people on Instagram that tuned in, which I'm super, super grateful for a first episode. We'll kind of go into some more stuff next week. I think Richard and I are gonna figure out some banger topics to kind of highlight. Yeah. If you guys want to know more, follow on our Instagrams. Richard, I'm gonna have you plug yours right after. You can follow me, Cole Martin Realtor, on Instagram and Facebook, Cole Martin on TikTok. You can follow on the YouTube. Big follow there for the YouTube channel. And Richard, throw what are you doing? Where's your Instagram? You gotta tell people. Throw it to you.
It's just Richard Ensing. RICHARD ENSING. Simple. And yeah, we got the YouTube channel there, the Multigen Blueprint. And so that's gonna be posted. This live stream is going to be posted there, so if you want to watch it again, if you found some information you want to re-listen to, go there, pop some questions there, because that's where it's going to be said. Like, Instagram doesn't let us post these big long reels or these big long live streams, and so if you don't want to watch it, go to the YouTube page, and we'll, as we continue on, we'll get better at putting tags and links places so that you can find that information easily.
We've got banger logos coming too. We got some banger logos. That are coming here. The branding. Jokes aside, it's so much fun. Yeah, Richard, it's always a blast. Looking forward to it. Everybody who tuned in, thanks so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. And so we'll sign off here. Cole Martin, Richard Ensing, both with Real Broker. Richard, part of the Valley Life Real Estate team, with the legend himself, Clark Berry, and Cole Martin, real estate agent here, kind of grinding through. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you guys next week, 8 a.m. here on the channels, and we'll wrap it up there. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.
Adios.